June 11th, 2001, FBI headquarters representatives and CIA representatives met with the New York FBI agents handling the Cole investigation. The New York agents were shown but not given copies of the photographs that they and told that they were taken in Malaysia. They weren't told that. Still, information being withheld. This is after the Cole. Information withheld from the FBI. One of the New York agents recalled that Al-Mihdhar's name was being mentioned. He also recalled asking for more information on why the people in the photographs were being followed. So we got an FBI now asking the CIA, why are you following these folks? He recalled asking for more information on why they were being followed and for access to that information. The New York agents were advised they could not be told why Al-Mihdhar and the others were being followed. This is truly unbelievable. I've got to tell you, you all, this is extraordinary. This has got nothing to do with information which can't cross a wall. This has to do with leads which are not shared with the FBI. Just simple leads. Information which is so critical. Now, an FBI headquarters representative told us in her interview that the FBI was never given specific information until it was provided after September 11th, 2001. And here's where I want to pick up with our witnesses. The CIA analyst who attended the New York meeting acknowledged to the Joint Inquiry staff that he had seen the information regarding Al-Mihdhar's U.S. visa and Al-Hazmi's travel to the U.S., but he stated that he would not share information outside of the CIA unless he had authority to do so and unless that was the purpose of the meeting. Now, June 11th, New York. Now we've got the FBI asking the CIA, would you tell us why you're following these two guys? And according to the CIA analyst, to our staff, that information was denied because no authority to do so, unless that's the purpose of the meeting. So I'll ask our CIA officer, as far as you know, is our staff report correct?
I would, the whole staff report?
No. What I read to you.
Could I just limit my comment to the June 11th meeting for right now?
Just on that.
Okay.
Is that correct, what I just read?
I would, first of all, I would distinguish between one CIA officer saying, I don't feel comfortable with sharing this information with a particular FBI individual, from the entire corporate body of the CIA and its policy. The second thing I would say is that the CIA officer was there.
Just ask you if this happened.
Not exactly that way.
Okay, then tell us how it happened.
I wasn't there. But what I will say is that when the CIA officer said, I'm not going to give you, Mr. or, FBI agent, this information, he was in the company of an FBI headquarters agent or analyst who had the information. The information was in the hands of the FBI. It was a question of my interpretation of this event, at which I wasn't there, is that the analyst was being conservative, and basically all I can do is go into the dangerous ground of speculating what's in his head.
No, I'd rather you not speculate. You weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Right, let me ask you.
But this is important because he was there with FBI people, and this was not CIA withholding information from the FBI. There was something else at work here that I'm not quite sure of, because we were in support of the.
On May 15, 2001, the CTC supervisor, who had just been detailed to the FBI, sent a request to CIA headquarters for the surveillance photographs of the Malaysia meeting. In a May 18th email to the CIA analyst, the CIA officer described his basis for the interest. Quote, the reason, aside from trying to find a photo of the second Cole bomber, I'm interested is because Khalid al-Mihdhar's two companions also were couriers of a sort who traveled between the Far East and Los Angeles at the time, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Salah, end quote. Salah was the name under which Tawfiq bin Attaj, also known as Khalid, traveled during the Malaysia meeting. Thus, information about Nawaf al-Hazmi's travel to the United States began to attract attention at CIA at least as early as May 18th, 2001. Toward the end of May 2001, a CIA analyst contacted an intelligence operations specialist at FBI headquarters about the surveillance photographs. The CIA wanted the FBI to review the photographs to determine whether a person in the custody of officials in connection with the FBI's coal investigation who had carried money to Southeast Asia for Khalid in January 2000 could be identified. When interviewed, the FBI intelligence operations specialist explained to the joint inquiry that the CIA had told her that the photographs had been taken during the Malaysia meeting, but had said nothing about Khalid Al-Mihdhar's potential travel to the United States. The CIA also did not tell the FBI intelligence operations specialist that the photographs were of a meeting Khalid had attended. On June 11, 2001, the CIA analyst and the FBI intelligence operations specialist traveled to New York to meet with FBI criminal case agents handling the coal investigation. The New York agents were shown, but not given copies of the surveillance photographs taken in Malaysia and were asked if they could identify anyone in them. A New York FBI agent testified to the joint inquiry that the agents pressed for information about the photographs and asked, "Why were you looking at this guy? You couldn't have been following everybody around the millennium. What was the reason behind this?" Nevertheless, the agent said, "At the end of the day, we knew the name Khalid Al-Mihdhar, but nothing else." The agent testified that he was told that the information could not be passed at that time, but might be in the days and weeks to come. However, no additional information was transmitted for use in a criminal case until after September 11th. In addition to not being told why Khalid Al-Mihdhar was being surveilled, the New York agents were not told about his U.S. visa, Nawaf al-Hazmi's travel to the United States, the January 2001 photo identification of Khalid, or the fact that the analyst had come upon material in a CIA database that led him to conclude that Nawaf al-Hazmi was an experienced mujahideen. The FBI intelligence operations specialist had none of that information, but the CIA analyst who attended the New York meeting acknowledged to the joint inquiry that he had seen all of it. In fact, he had received an email just 3 weeks earlier that referred to Nawaf al-Hazmi's travel to the United States. That information, he related in a joint inquiry interview, did not mean anything to him since he was interested in terrorist connections to Yemen. The CIA analyst explained to the joint inquiry that the information was operational in nature and he would not disclose it outside CIA unless he had prior authority to do so. Summing up the New York meeting and all that preceded it, the same CTC supervisor on detail to the FBI, who did not attend the meeting but knew of it, testified, quote, "Every place that something could have gone wrong in over this year and a half, it went wrong. All the processes that have been put in place, all the safeguards, everything else, they failed at every possible opportunity. Nothing went right," end quote. On June 13, 2001, Khalid Al-Mihdhar obtained a new U.S. visa in Jeddah using a different passport than the one he had used to enter the United States in January 2000. On his visa application, he checked no in response to the question whether he had ever been in the United States. On July 4, 2001, Khalid Al-Mihdhar re-entered the United States.